and gents. We're back for a pod just before the finals. Ian, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Yeah, looking forward to the finals. It's exciting. We're getting that Antetokounmpo Leonard matchup we've always wanted.
That's it. Just a different type of player, caliber of player, bench warmers, but we get that matchup nonetheless, don't we?
Yes, we do.
But look, we need to chat about the entire conference finals and also the ending of the semi-finals as well. Firstly, let's
Yes.
talk about the big choke that happened with the Clippers. Um, I just thought that was a monumental choke. Part of me thinks Kawhi Leonard kind of gave up in a sense as well towards the end of that series. Maybe he just saw the writing on the wall, right? I mean, they lost 3 games in a row and they just could not stop that high pick and roll. Jokic and Jamal Murray were playing. But overall, for a team that was very highly touted, a lot of people were saying that was the most talented team. And in hindsight, I think it's a huge joke that they said they're the most talented team above Lakers in terms of what they've got. But how do you see the collapse of the Clippers and where to next?
Well, it came down to two things: was bench players didn't perform as well as expected, or their lack of
Mm.
depth there. And PG stepped up for a bit, but then went quiet, and then when then
Pandemic
Kawhi went
P.
quiet as well, as you're saying in the last game. Jeez, he was shocking. Yeah,
Ice cold, man. Ice cold fourth quarter by both of those guys. Yeah. I mean, he played like just an average average player, really.
yeah.
Just how he was decimated to that level. I mean, he couldn't. They played Kawhi on Jokic. I mean, that's how desperate they were. They just didn't have a natural player against the center. I mean, this is a team. This Clippers team. They went without a center,
Mm.
right? I mean, they had that Serbian player. But you couldn't play him down the stretch. Obviously, it was a flawed team. Um, when you look at it now, right? Looking at it
Hmm.
backwards, and also the big talking tough players like Montrez Harrell, Lou Williams, the Morris brothers. Oh, one Morris brother anyway. Um, these guys just went missing, man,
Yep.
and and even Pat Bev, for all that bark, it disappeared when I counted.
Yeah, like I don't know. He's always been a defensive player. Didn't really score though, and they really needed him to score.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And look, I think unfortunately, as of today, Doc Rivers is being fired or is leaving. I don't know. I guess he's had a fairly long run. Looking back though, just a bit of a hat tip to Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Um, he came during the Donald Sterling years, right? I mean, he was part of the original Lob City, but this is when no one really wanted to go. This is when no one really wanted to um, go over the Clippers, but he's made it a sexy team with the new owner, obviously, as well. I think he's done his job to some sense, but he had 1 year to hit a home run with this team, and he couldn't get the job done. Fell short, and it is probably the right time to pull the trigger and get someone else in and maximize what they have with this group. But well done, Doc Rivers. Great guy. People love him. I'm hoping he gets that fourth head coaching gig. You never know.
Yeah. I wonder where he'd go. That fits him. Do you reckon it'd go to Philly now that he's available?
Mm, mm. Philly, well, they're considering Mike D'Antoni. I've been told. I just heard a wild rumor that um,
Yeah. I don't
I heard a rumor that if
know.
Mike D'Antoni goes to Philly, there's a chance James Harden might follow him. I mean, that's just wild, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
if that happens, that'd be pretty insane. I'm assuming they'd have to create some kind of a trade because I'm sure James Harden's got at least 1, if not 2 years left on his contract. So,
Mm.
mm. um,
But then they'd have to break up the brothers,
the brothers you're talking about, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Ben Simmons and
Oh man,
and
those
Embiid.
are like quite dysfunctional brothers. Those guys. I don't know. I'm actually. I think Joel Embiid. He's a bit of a head case, right? Like seriously, when you think about it, he's very talented. He's had a couple of good years. He didn't have a good year this year. That's for damn sure. Um, and I don't know. Maybe he needs to change. He definitely needs at least a change of coach. But maybe he needs a change of scenery.
Yeah, well, he's going to have a change of coach now, but maybe he felt a bit weird because um, Coach Brown, knew Simmons and that sort of thing. Has felt some favoritism there.
He did openly complain as well, didn't he, in terms of the number of shots he was getting and things like that. So yes,
It was like Shaq in the old days complaining about number of grabs
yeah,
down there.
all the big guys they got to complain once in a while, right? When their shots drop off. But look, we're getting into the Philly zone, but let's switch back over to. We'll finish with Clippers. Look, I think there was an epic meltdown, one of the biggest choke jobs we've seen so far for a highly talked up team. They've had a lot of confidence, internal
Yeah,
confidence themselves. They thought they were going to go all the way. They thought they were going to. Kawhi, I'm sure in his heart of hearts thought he was going to take down LeBron his conference finals and take the mantle as the best player in the world.
do you think it was because they were up
Well, yeah, I mean,
three
you're
one?
right, absolutely, and they're well within their rights to think that. But you remember, even in the first round, there were, first round, not even during the bubble, they were giving shit to Damian Lillard as well on the sideline, so they're pretty
Yeah,
confident, and they were telling, Portland players, CJ McCollum and Lillard, that enjoy your vacation and things like that. So, but that's how it goes, man. It all comes down to matchups, right? Those young Denver players, man, they came through.
yeah, that was an awesome game, and I loved it. And I think if it wasn't for them always fighting and coming back from behind, and they were fresh, it would have been a much better
Yeah,
series against the Lakers.
yeah, yep. True. I mean, it was two monumental comebacks, right? And Jamal Murray, man, I liked him. I remember watching him in Kentucky. I'm pretty sure when he came in,
Yeah,
he was just an okay, serviceable young player, but to continually improve over maybe the last, I think it's his fifth season. Um, and now to break out, he wasn't even an All Star this year, right? He hasn't been an All Star yet. To break out now
no,
into a clear star of the league, he'll be a clear top 15 player, right? After this season, what we've seen in terms of what he's been able to do, and probably going to be a multiple All Star player going forward. Now, it's just amazing. I think what he did with Jokic and some of those role players was just really great to watch. Highlight for me so far in the playoffs.
yeah, I really liked it when he wasn't afraid of LeBron and just went at him.
Yeah.
And there was one in the last game when he went at LeBron, and it was sort of like he faked him out right at the ring, and it was awesome.
Oh, that little scoop you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
It's like little MJS, that one.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it was great. And Jokic, I think Joel Embiid for a little while took over as the best center in the league. But he took that
mm,
mantle back, Jokic, with just the offensive firepower he's got. Three ball, the playmaking, those pick and rolls, his post up game, his little flip shots, unbelievable.
yeah. I was gonna say he even had the post up. He
Yeah.
had everything.
I mean, and their role players played pretty well as well, right? Jeremy Grant played really well. Gary Harris was a bit of a letdown in the Lakers series, but in the previous series, at least as a lockdown defender against Clippers, he played really well. Um, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was just a complete team effort, really. But one other thing I wanted to touch on, Houston, in terms of how they got knocked out.
Yep.
What's what's your take on Houston and specifically what do they need to do going forward? I mean, let's not go through what happened in too much detail, but where do you think they're at right now?
I think they need a big, or because they lost the rebounding. They kept getting out rebounded
Hmm.
nearly every game. Right? They just went for that small ball.
That's the thing about the D'Antoni system, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, it's just not something. It'll take you. It'll be great during the regular season. It'll get you maybe to the semi-finals, but just to get all the way, they always stop short. That system that he plays. So I mean, what was sad was the demise of Russell Westbrook. I'm just hoping it's a little blip, and he has a great bounce back. Yeah, he's 30. I think he's 30, 31 now, so he's starting to tick over to the other side. But I'm just hoping he doesn't fade away as quickly.
Yeah, I'm hoping he still plays on.
Oh, there's look, he'll definitely play on. They've got I think 2 years left, 40 million plus on his contract. So, but let's just hope he's got some good years left in him. All right, well let's switch to the east side
Yeah.
and just the series we've seen between Celtics and Miami. What are your highlights from that?
Man, it was back and forth, and like it was down to the wire a few games. There was never really any blowouts except for one game. I think there was a bit of a blowout.
Mm.
But yeah, it was awesome, and especially the last game, like Iggy, who probably did nothing the whole series. That's all he needed
Yeah,
to do, right?
yeah.
Just came out of his shell.
I mean, what's your take on this Miami roster? I mean, I think all of us in hindsight side can say whatever, but they've crept up on us, right? The whole NBA world, I would say.
Yeah,
Maybe there might be the odd NBA stats geek out there thinking, you know, this was coming, but they've surprised all of us, right? It's for me, well, what I call them the Moneyball team, right? Like just
mm,
when they got Jimmy Butler, he was almost he had a bad reputation from Minnesota. He left Chicago in a bad way. He left Minnesota in a bad way. He had an okay 1 year in Philly, but he lost his reputation a little bit. And they got him. They got him at a risky point in time for him to turn it around. It's been amazing. Um, players like Bam Adebayo, who's had a slow start, but who's now become an all-star. You know, has a pretty interesting story coming from a trailer, living in a trailer with his mom. Really, amazing story. Yeah, undrafted players as well, like Duncan Robinson. But it just works, right? I think Goran Dragic. I think he was a second rounder, or even maybe undrafted as well, and he's become a big time player as well. So really, another great story.
yeah. It's interesting because yeah, Duncan Robinson, he has been awesome for a little white guy.
Yeah, they want to be don't be racist, but they've got a fair few white players, man, that can ball. They can really play. Those guys shoot.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't think anyone pegged them
Mm.
to even make finals this year. Um, they definitely came out of nowhere and just showed the world that if you work hard enough to work together as a team, you can make it, mate.
Yeah, culture, right? Miami Heat culture, man. Culture's still got a place in the NBA. It's great to see, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think Jimmy really bought into it as well.
Mm. Mm.
And he saw that,
Yep, yep,
yeah, the guys on the team, because they're all a bunch of misfits, right? They're not big names, and they all work hard, and that's what Jimmy likes.
yeah. Jimmy loves that. He's got that background. I mean, he himself was kicked out of home at 13 by his mom, and then he was bouncing around and made his way out, right? So a lot of underdog stories. Eric Spoelstra, as a coach, started out in the basement cutting videotapes for Miami Heat. So yeah, lots of great stories, playing really well, and on top of that, they went and got great wing players, Iggy and Jay Crowder. So I think they match up pretty well against Lakers. To be honest, people will be a little bit surprised. I don't expect 4-zip 4-1 type
Mm.
series. I think this is going to be pretty close because um, two of the best LeBron stoppers, Andre Iguodala, won an MVP against him, Finals MVP. Jay Crowder always does really well against LeBron as well, and Bam Adebayo, he's a pretty good defensive power forward slash center. That's going to give Anthony Davis a little bit of trouble, and because Miami plays small ball, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, the big guys won't get too many minutes. So
Mm,
I think this is going to be an interesting series, man. This is no cakewalk.
exactly. So one guy I think we didn't really touch on was Tyler Hero. He's been balling it as well and just making those clutch threes, and he's not afraid to take the shot either. And I reckon, yeah, it's going to be him or Caruso, mate. I want to see him go at it.
Tyler Hero, I'm a bucket. Oh yeah, Caruso will probably guard him a fair bit. Um, the Caruso, as they call it. Yeah, no, it's good, man. I mean, Tyler Harrow coming out first year, just great shooter, right? Unbelievable shooter. He can, and he's just not one of those guys that stands on the three point
Yeah.
line and shoots. He can create his own shot as well. Just, I think he's got a lot of
So
potential.
with Caruso, how old is he?
Mm.
Because he looks about 40.
No, I think he's. I don't think he was drafted. He's probably about 23, 24. He's from Texas. Just one of those diamonds in the rough, mate. That they went and got. Yeah. Hey, Celtics.
Yeah.
Again, they've fallen short, right? This is a pretty long term experiment now. I think this experiment they've had is probably for about 5 years. All those first round draft picks they piled up from trading, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett to Brooklyn, and other trades as well. All those first round picks have now come through, and they've got lucky, right? Like they've got Jason Tatum,
Yeah.
future All Star. Well, was an All Star this year actually. Sorry, was an All Star. Jalen Brown just missed out being an All Star. Marcus Smart's been great. They went and got Gordon Hayward, who has been an All Star. Has been obviously snapped his leg and has injury trouble, but on his day, a really good player.
Yeah. Well, do you keep him?
Well, that's the thing. I think they need to think about packaging Hayward up with potentially even Kemba, man. I don't know. A lot of people love Kemba and they love what he's done with the team this year. And I agree, right? Going from Kyrie,
Yeah.
who was a nut job while he was over there, uh, to getting Kemba, I think they've done really well. But he faded, yeah. When the lights were bright, he faded. That's the thing. When the lights shine really brightly, some people elevate, other people, decrease in production.
Yeah, well, you look at that last game against Miami, right? The top two scorers were
Mm.
your duo, Mr. Tatum and Mr.
Yeah,
Brown,
yeah, that's
the two
right.
J's.
That's right. So, look, I think they've got a nice young core, but this I still don't think they're going to grow enough to be a championship team. They're still one or two pieces away. And they had the option of trading and getting like an Anthony Davis, getting like a Jimmy Butler, but they decided to just hold firm. They got Kyrie Irving on the cheap, obviously, as well. They got rid of little guy Isaiah Thomas beforehand, but yeah, I don't know. I think they need to make a move, and you're right. I think it could be Gordon Hayward packaged up with something to get someone else back. And is it a wing?
Do you reckon they need a point, someone to handle the ball, or do they need someone as in like a rebounder, power forward, center?
I think look where the league's going. You need like a 3 point shooting, rebounding power forward, right? And they don't really have that.
Mm.
They've got the German guy and Ennis.
Well, Tatum's playing that role, I think.
He's too small, though, right? He's a wing. I mean, he's
Yeah,
a 6'8" skinny wing player. He'll never be able to play that role. I think personally, I think they need that spot shorn up to go anywhere, and they don't grow on trees, right? So they need to figure out who that player could be.
Embiid.
Whoa, whoa. Well, that's interesting. I mean, that would shake. I mean, that would make them instant contender. But Philly would want something back, mate.
Yeah, I don't think they'll take Gordon Hayward for Embiid.
Would you do a package of Marcus Smart, Jalen Brown, and maybe a first round pick for Joel Embiid?
Oh, you're breaking up the brothers, though.
It's gonna happen, man. If it doesn't happen early this season, it's in 2021. It's gonna
Yeah, I reckon I'd do it. Throw in Gordon Hayward too.
happen. Well, if you throw in Hayward, well, Celtics could probably, in terms of salary matching, could take someone back. And one of those wings they've got in Philly. All All right. So those were our conference finals. We touched on some of the semi-finalists as well. Now let's look forward to the finals. What's your prediction, and what are the key
Mm.
matchups, and where will it be won?
I would love it if the Heat won, but
Oh,
um,
all right.
I think if the Lakers play like they did last, round, I think they
Mm.
take it away. It'll be 4-6, 4-2.
Well, man, I just want to say this will be LeBron's 10th finals campaign, right? And guess
Mm.
how many other teams have made teams? I'm not talking players. Teams have made as many finals. It's the Celtics, Lakers, and I'm pretty sure it's the Warriors who've made 11.
Mm-hmm.
And LeBron's right up there with franchises. And this guy's a franchise, a walking, living franchise.
Yeah,
So
he's just a walking franchise. Everywhere he goes, every team he plays
it
with
just happens.
makes
It just
finals.
happens, right? So, man, if LeBron gets that 4-3, he's clear number two. And I don't want to like hear anyone say anything else. He's clear number two. And if he stays fit and if AD stays around, he could get a fifth, and he's going to really. I think he's going to give it a real good shake of beating Michael Jordan right at the end of his career. So, but he's got to get through this little hurdle first. But I think LeBron, the prize in front of him with a great team, Anthony Davis, Rajon Rondo playing really well. Um, all their wing players taking turns like Caruso, Danny Green, Caldwell Pope, even Dwight Howard, man, he's a former number one pick that's playing like a almost a number one pick, right? Got him to bargain
Yeah,
price. I just think there's too much talent in that Lakers team, and probably too big, and too much depth. I think they're going to win 4-2, and LeBron James as the Finals MVP and solidify his place as the clear number two ever.
yeah. Like you look at LeBron.
What's your
I'm
prediction?
I'm just trying to see his numbers in terms of minutes played. Like he doesn't play as much minutes as he used to. I think he's playing about 36 minutes or so
Mm,
a game, and that's down on when he was in Cleveland and carrying the whole team.
mm,
He's definitely got you know someone else playing more
mm,
minutes, which is Anthony Davis. Um, but yeah,
mm,
I watched a video about how much LeBron spends and takes care of his body, and he's even changed the way when he dunks and the way he lands, so that he doesn't get injured.
mm.
And I think there's going to be much more of him to come, and he will, solidify himself as that number two, or even try and go for number one, right? To be the goat.
Yep, absolutely. He's 35. I think he can go for 2 more years. 2 more rings would be real nice, right?
Yeah,
So your prediction? Did you
yeah. I
say
said
you said
four
you'd love
two.
Miami?
The Lakers.
Oh, you're 4-2 as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool. I mean, I think there's a chance 4-1, but I think Miami's probably good enough to get 2 games out of it. So I'm gonna
yeah.
go 4-2.
I mean, it would be a Cinderella story if the Heat won. Like it'd be massive to have Jimmy Butler go to the Heat and run with a bunch of nobodies and win
They'll make a movie out of it one day.
it.
I mean, they're a fifth seed, right? They're a fifth seed. How many fifth seeds have made it to the NBA Finals over the last decade or 2 decades? Not many. Not
Yeah, not
many at
many.
all. It's usually one or two. Is always up there contending from both conferences. So
Well, what was that Cavs team that won it with LeBron? I don't think they were first.
I think they were first in the East, but there was a huge difference between the East and the West. That's the problem.
Yeah,
They won 60 games, 60 something games
did
that
they?
year. Yeah, absolutely. When they played Spurs for the first time, um, and then obviously Celtics and Lakers sort of dominated for a couple of years, and then the Miami years and Spurs years kicked in. So yeah, that's it. Well, our predictions are in, and your MVP,
MVP, I reckon
Anthony Davis.
they will give it to AD. Yeah, I
Oh, you're gonna
reckon
go with it.
they will. They
It's
will.
interesting because I think it's almost.
Even though I reckon LeBron deserves it because he's carrying everything and not
Mm.
just the offense. But they'll give it to AD.
I sort of see it almost the opposite. I sort of see it as AD deserves it because he's been stellar, right? He's the guy that's been averaging 35 points plus a game, and he's bailed them out a couple of times, really.
Yeah, he has.
And LeBron's had a couple of up and down games. He had a shaky fourth quarter, I think two games ago,
Hmm.
as well as against Denver. So, but I think they'll give it to LeBron.
Yep.
Well,
There's where
that's
the
it.
difference is, mate.
That's it. Well, we've got the finals to look forward to. We'll definitely be tuning in halfway through that series, and let the best team win. And let's just hope Miami puts up a really good fight, and I think they will.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yep, Thursday morning,
Yeah.
bring it on. Cool.
Well, till next time, probably after the
All
first
right,
two games, we'll come
that's
back,
it.
do it again.
Yep, we'll come back and do it again. Absolutely. Cool, man.
All right. Don't forget to tell your friends, subscribe,
Yep.
tell everyone you know.
Tell your friends. I know people are tuning in. I've had people tell me they're tuning in. So just tell your friends if you like what you hear. Peace out.
Peace.